Hey Dumplings, it's Dave Decide. Today I want to get into V being forced out of an area that may have been unsafe. I also wanted to talk about V mentioning retirement, and I wanted to get into V's recent museum excursion. Of course, I also wanted to talk about RM kissing a fan. It's not what you think. So hater or not, make sure to subscribe with the notification bell on. Remember Dumplings, hey Spilling Mug merch, and let's get into it. So with the recent drop of Sexy Nukem, RM has been trending recently and a lot of people can't stop talking about it as Sexy Boy. Sexy Nukem is a great song. It definitely takes a minute to grow on you as it did to me. If you haven't seen it or just want to see my reaction, you can react to it with me on Patreon. I will link my Patreon below. But the video is definitely nothing to take too seriously. It's fun, it's trippy, and it's just a great project for RM to work on. I think it really showcases his skills, and it has this raw underground sound that is more in tune with what he may have preferred to do going into the industry. And just a side tangent here, people are upset the song isn't performing as well as Left and Right or any other pop song that the other members have done. But this is expected. This is like saying a restaurant that sells strictly to billionaires is going to be as globally famous as McDonald's, where it's just everyone's taste. There's only like 3,000 billionaires in the world that would eat there, but there's billions of people who have had McDonald's. So going back, not every song is going to appeal to a mass audience, and thus the streams for Sexy Nukem can be less. It doesn't mean RM is less successful. People were dissecting RM's scene and just loving it. RM had a scene where he had a bunch of fans around him, and this is just a funny looking scene. Of course, armies and people on Twitter were like, this is RM with his fans, and these tweets went viral and people began making their own jokes about RM and his fans. One person pulled up a screen grab of a moment where RM was kissing a hand-sized fan. These are these small fans that they often sell in Asian countries where you would just hold it by your chest and it's a nice breeze to your face. And they sell these on the street in many Asian countries when it gets really hot. The photos appear to be behind the scenes of the Permission to Dance era, and as we know, BTS was filming the music video in the desert, so they definitely needed some devices to cool down in between shots. And so RM seemed very thankful for his fans at this moment, and we got a cute shot of him kissing the fan. All armies right now just googling how to become a fan. I personally don't need to be a fan, as I know I'm not worthy as a fan, but I would love to be the air around RM. But joking aside, there's been a lot darker things happening online, and it's not necessarily darker things that are actually hurting the boys, but just the fan reactions seem to be much darker. I get upset when people claim every person who comes in contact with BTS is a stalker or whatever, and this simply is just not true. There's moments online where reporters would wait for V to come out of his car or head to a specific area, and they would just stand there and record. There was a particular reporter who people made a compilation video of where he stood there and kept asking for where V was, and when he finally saw V, he screamed out V's name. People were yelling Sasaeng or stalker, but this is just so weird to think. Korea, especially now, has enacted some sort of stalker law. If it was a reporter that was actually stalking V, then they could go right to jail. Knowing that V will be at a public event or in a public area and then just standing there at a distance is not the same as stalking. Stalking is footage from his apartment or in a private moment. I was seeing photos online where people were taking photos and videos next to Taeyang in Paris in a club or whatever, and then claiming that this person is a Sasaeng fan because fans believe that this particular Sasaeng fan snuck into the event. However, this is strange to assume. Even if the quote-unquote Sasaeng fan was begging the security guard to let her in to meet Taeyang, that is still not Sasaeng behavior. Wouldn't you, if you knew that V was at this club and this was your only chance to meet him, wouldn't you ask the security guard to just let you in for a photo? As long as you're not attacking the idol, harassing them, and they don't seem bothered by it, who cares? Calling someone a stalker is really bad because a lot of the fans won't even look into it. They just believe that this person is a stalker, so the alleged stalker then starts to get death threats even if they did nothing wrong. People believe V was in danger multiple times during his recent trips, and he was forced out of these areas very quickly, but I doubt he was uncomfortable, and he seemed like he was always safe, and hype kept him completely safe. Another alleged Sasaeng moment was when V was recently spotted with apparently a non-celebrity friend, perhaps a family friend or someone from school, and this was at a hall exhibition in the famous COEX Mall. This seemed to be the mall where BTS likes the best, and they go there a lot. It's the mall with the big billboard up front that almost looks 3D sometimes. And so this was a museum. They got to see some of the art pieces, and very quickly V was noticed by an army. Now, it's pretty well known within the community that if you're an army and you see BTS during their off time, they often don't like to bother BTS, or they pretend not to see BTS. However, while this is fine, I think it's totally okay to acknowledge BTS and say hi as a normal person, and if you want to do that without drawing any more attention to the idol, then you're okay. And that's what the particular ARMY did. It was reported and alleged that a girl ARMY went up to V, asked if he was V, and then she said that she was an ARMY. And apparently V smiled cutely and started to shake her hand. Of course, I am sure he would normally offer to hug her, but it is a pandemic after all, and the handshake is totally cute as well. This was controversial for some of the reasons I just mentioned and others. People thought she should have ignored V completely and let him have his time off to himself and not go up and say hi at all. But I think it can be rude to scream and shout V and then have all the attention on him, but it's definitely not rude to discreetly say hi, and if V was offering a handshake, then he was definitely happy to meet her. Other ARMYs were upset and mad that this ARMY was offered a handshake and a moment to touch V at all, saying that this was a private moment or area with V and they shouldn't have even gone near him. And others believed that the ARMY was a stalker or Sasaeng fan and followed V into the museum. I just want to debunk the stalker rumors right away and say that there is likely no way it was a stalker. Flight info, hotel info, and all that can be found ahead of time and used to stalk idols because there's staff that get that information and there's people within the label that may know exactly where the idol is, so it can be leaked. Like there's an actual document to be leaked. But V hanging out with his friends at a mall, there's no way for even the label to know what they'll end up doing that day. He wasn't with his security, meaning the label probably had no idea that he was out and about. And so exactly how is a Sasaeng supposed to know exactly where he'd be to quote unquote accidentally bump into him? These people believe that BTS is so big and big enough to have stalkers, but they refuse to believe that BTS is big enough where they can go anywhere and have BTS fans that also just happen to be there. Others, I feel, are just jealous and wish that they were the fan and are mad, which is why they're calling them stalkers in hopes to send hate to that ARMY that met BTS. If you're a girl and you happen to take a photo with BTS and post it, since BTS rarely takes selfies, this probably could go viral and you'd end up with a lot of hate just from meeting them. So if you want to not get hate, but have a photo with them, don't post it. You would think with all of this drama that goes online within the fandom that V would just be kind of tired and maybe scared to do anything. But of course, he cannot worry about all that. He has to keep going and keep making music. I do think the day V decides to retire will be an interesting one as he may finally be free. Maybe not after the first few years, but after that, once the spotlight has faded, he can go anywhere without too much disturbance. V previously did talk about retirement and what he hopes to happen. A long time ago, he mentioned that when he turned 40, he'd like to devote his time and energy to his wife and kids. And of course, he wouldn't be able to travel as much as now, so that is a good time to do it. He also wanted to be that senior that throws shrimp crackers at birds. But those plans actually seem changed very recently. He mentioned that he would actually like to keep going as a musician and not retire. He would actually like every ARMY to at least see BTS like once and enjoy the performance. And so of course this inspired BTS to have a free concert. But I don't think money was the issue for the most part. It was difficult to get tickets even if you had the money. So if you hadn't seen BTS live, we're on the same boat, we can cry together. But what do you think? How do you feel about RM kissing a fan? How do you feel about V's safety in areas like a club or when he's traveling? How do you feel about the fan who allegedly went up to V at the museum? And how do you feel about V's retirement or lack of retirement plans? Let me know what you think. Make sure you check out my Patreon for more videos, link down below. Thanks, this lovely comment right here. Love you, bye.